and released on October 2nd of 2019. It was the biggest update Skyblock has seen since its release, and to this day, people still use it every day. But with Dungeons Floor 7 and above releasing, what's the future? Hello, gentlemen and ladies, this is Hellfire, back with another episode, and this is a commentary type episode where I'm just going to be talking over some Dungeons gameplay. So, the topic of today is the End. So, the End released over a year ago, and a lot's happened since that release. For one, when it released, the items in the End were the best items by far. But since the End release, Dungeons has released. Six floors of Dungeons are released. Currently, you can only use actual outside armor till floor 2, and after that it becomes way too hard to survive or do damage. And then after floor 5-ish, all items that you get are significantly better than actual items outside of Dungeons. So to start off, I'm gonna compare the best armor set outside Dungeons and the best armor set inside Dungeons. So right now, for Berserk, the best armor set inside Dungeons is Shadow Assassin armor. Now, the chest plate in the Shadow Assassin set gives 31 strength, 8 crit chance, 31 crit damage, and about 361 HP, 151 defense, 8 speed, and 6 intelligence. Now this is with the pure Reforged. Now this automatically makes it better than superior in almost every single way, except for EHP, which in terms of that, superior is still better. But when comparing them inside Dungeons, Shadow Assassin completely outclasses Superior Dragon. Superior Dragon is only good if it's 5-star, which can only be used if your Catacombs 30 or above, which is a big problem for most people. Because of that, Shadow Assassin is a better armor set than Superior overall. It's better outside Dungeons for damage, it's better inside Dungeons for damage, and EHP only matters inside Dungeons, and there, Shadow Assassin better. Next, I'm gonna compare the best swords in the game compared to the best swords in Dungeons. Now, outside Dungeons, the best is the Midas, and the best Midas out there, it gives pretty good stats. You get 390 damage, 240 strength, and 60 crit damage, and it's a pretty good sword. Outside Dungeons, it used to do the most damage, but the Gilded is the best Reforged in the game technically for Midas. But another sword, which is the fabled Livid Dagger, is so much better outside Dungeons and inside Dungeons. It has a damage of 240, it has a strength of 135, it has a crit chance of 100, which means you don't need to make any of your talismans unpleasant, and you can also put Fierce on your armor because you don't need pure crit chance. You have 160 crit damage, and you have 100% attack speed, which is the max. This also means you don't need to put any of your talismans to attack speed, and you can make them pure damage with shaded. Attack speed is really broken. I think Ferocity is still better, but attack speed is not too bad. Also, the Fabled bonus is way better than the Gilded bonus. Fabled bonus gives you a 20% chance to do a 20% extra damage, and it can be 1 to 20%. But the Livid Dagger also has 2 other abilities, which is Throw, which throws your dagger at enemies. It's not that good of an ability. It has a 5-second cooldown and it has a mana cost of 150, but it does your melee damage and can be pretty useful in some situations. But the second ability is that your critical hits deal 100% more damage if you're behind your target, which is insane for damage. Although this only happens in certain situations, if you have a tank on your team, it is very, very OP. So, when comparing these two swords, obviously, the Livid Dagger is better outside of dungeons. It does more damage and it has a chance of doing double the damage as a Midas. But, inside dungeons, it completely outclasses it. At least outside of dungeons, Midas stands a chance. It does about 10 to 20k damage less. But inside of dungeons, Livid Dagger completely outclasses it. Of course, it's 5-starred. If it's 5-star, it gets 556.8% more damage, 382 strength. You get 100 more crit chance, which doesn't really matter. You get 371.2 crit damage, and you get 100% bonus attack speed, which really doesn't matter, but yeah, because you already have 100. You also get more ferocity, because the Livid Dagger does give ferocity, I think. Never mind, it does not. But you get the gist. So, right there we can see that top outside of dungeon weapons and armor completely get outclassed in floor 5, floor 6 dungeon robes, which isn't really good for outside of dungeons, because we still have floor 7, floor 8, and floor 9, and floor 10, which all are going to become, or are going to give you better loot than the loot that we already have. And I'm pretty sure they haven't upgraded each class in each floor. Instead, they've taken an approach where each floor is centered towards one class, per se. And we just got a Berserk update. Floor 6 and floor 5 were kind of Berserk. So I think each class will at least get one more upgrade before Catacombs ends. So, with all this in the way, what does the end have to offer to an end game player? And the answer is nothing. Superior Dragon gets outclassed. It's the best dragon armor in the game, and it gets outclassed by Shadow Assassin. The Aspect of the End, the best sword in the end, gets outclassed. By far, even the Aspect of the End with the Warped Reforge is better, way better. So that gets outclassed. And all the dragon armor get outclassed, except maybe Wise and Young, and if you dungeonize them, they're better. Silverwood's superior, but it's so endgame that it's not even worth to a person who's Catacomb 25, Catacomb 26. It's not worth, unless once you get to Catacomb 30, of course it is. But nothing in the game really needs a 5-star superior. Maybe in floor 10, floor 8, floor 9. But it doesn't stack up to the Shadow Assassin and the value it has with how easy it is to use and how easy it is to get. So, the bottom line, the end officially has no uses. Before, it might have had a use with Superior and maybe the Aspect of the End with Dragon Pet, but now the only thing that it has is a Dragon Pet. And even then, there are more pets releasing. You never know what's going to become the best. Tiger has gotten a buff recently with Ferocity. Wither has always been a tough contender, and so many others are better in the E-Drag in certain situations. E-Drag used to be the best for Magic Fight, now either Black Cat or Griffin is the best. So yeah, the end is becoming useless. So the admins have two choices that they can go with. For one, they can make the end officially useless. They can stop supporting it. although people will still have to go to the end, it won't be the end game option, which I think that's what the admins are going to do. Or they can keep supporting it. They did add a new dragon, the Holy Dragon, which wasn't really the end, but it's like a dragon set. So they can add more dragons, add more drops, add to a loot table, maybe add some more activities like the golem. They could go that way, which is, I think those are the two biggest routes that they can take. And when looking at it all, it's obvious what route they will take, which is probably the first route, and stop supporting the end, like the Blazing Fortress. And I think that's the choice that I would go with as well. I think the end is at the end of its lifespan. It's like going into retirement, where only mid-game players will have to go through it, and even then, dungeons, you can get a dungeon carry for about, what, 300 to 200k to floor 3, and you can get adaptive and just go from there and grind your way up. And dungeons gives you better money than zealot grinding, especially higher tiers, and there's no reason to go back to the end. So, with that all out of the way, I wanted to ask you guys what I can do to better myself. Comment down below if I can make anything better. This is my first commentary style of video with just things running in the background. I personally like to make content that suits me, and this, I like to watch videos while just doing something in the background. And I like this type of content, so just comment down below if I can make it better. Make sure you guys subscribe and like, and just have a good day. See you guys later.